So anytime you join a discourse site, you're going to be greeted by DiscoBot or a similarly named bot in a different community. That's going to tell you a little bit about the site. So you're going to get this private message, and it'll quickly let you know this is just a bot. Don't try necessarily talking to it and expecting a lovely conversation. And it'll give you some important information about the site. How to contact the staff of the site. Those are your moderators and your admins. Filling in that you are limited as a new user in what you can do, and that as you participate in the site, you will gain access to additional features and tools. And we'll talk about trust levels in a couple of minutes. And we also always want to link to our guidelines. So part of what we want to do with Discourse, we do want to encourage civilized discussion, not just discussion on the internet. And we feel that site guidelines are a great place for different communities who may be a little bit different from each other to share how they want things to function. And yes, I absolutely can do that. So with DiscoBot, one thing that we'll do is we walk your new users through the site, how to use Discourse they never have. So as you see here, if you want to learn more, select the bookmark. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so it's not so small. So we've now very quickly taught your users how to bookmark a topic. So they already know that that is a feature within Discourse. And DiscoBot is going to go through and back and forth with you and teach you the basic functions of using Discourse. So for example, it is now teaching us how to reply, first how to find those bookmarks, how to reply, and a little bit about our one-boxing feature, which we use to describe expanding links to provide a little more content so that your posts aren't just filled with links, but actually some useful information that sort of shows what that link is for. I'm not going to go through the entire tutorial here, just go through a couple of posts. So DiscoBot is now asking us to use an emoji. So we'll give it a little smile. And we'll keep going here. So once your users have made their way through the DiscoBot tutorial, which of course is optional, we're not going to force anyone to go through it. I know for me, I've signed up for countless Discourse sites, and with all due respect to DiscoBot, I just ignore it at this point. I don't need the tutorial to repeat itself over and over again. And your users will be offered that as well. We recognize that people have used Discourse before in various contexts. So there's an option right from the start when you first log in, and it prompts you to look at DiscoBot to skip new user features. So that'll skip over DiscoBot, as well as some of those badges, which we're going to talk about shortly, that are really to encourage new users to learn. So I'm going to go ahead, now that we've done this, and I'm a new user, I'm going to go and introduce myself. So I'm going to pop into this introduction topic. Normally, I would hopefully read through it, but I'm just going to skip down to the bottom and say hi to everyone. Hi. I'm new user. Nice to be here. You'll also see some just-in-time messaging going on over here. So we found that one of the most effective ways of teaching users about better behavior and what sites expect is via just-in-time notification. People don't read paragraphs upon paragraphs of text. You give them a 5-page document on your site guidelines, you're going to get a few people who will read it, but most will not. Most are going to get through that first paragraph. Maybe they'll skim another page, and then I'm done. I want to get back to what I'm doing. So just-in-time messaging, when we actually want them to know something, we found is very effective. So the first couple times that a user posts on a site, they're going to get some basic information. So it looks like the first 2 posts they're going to do. You'll see this, and it's reminding them to be kind to the community members, making sure the reply improves the conversation, and making sure that we're criticizing ideas, not people. And then, of course, linking back to the full guidelines again. So just that reminder for your users right there. And we can go ahead then and post that. So one thing that's nice about Discourse being a modern web application is that you don't have to be constantly refreshing the page in order to see things. So I'm going to reply. And what you can see is that my admin user here is replying. You can see right now that someone is typing. And then you're going to see that post come right in. So no need to refresh, nice live updates, and that'll happen pretty quickly and smoothly for your users. You also get, similar to many other modern web applications, live notifications. So As my admin user, admin Wyatt here, I just liked this post by new user. A new user can now see a notification right up there on their user profile and can jump, it happens to be in this topic, but jump right to that post where they got that notification. You also are going to earn badges as you participate on the site. So this user earned the welcome badge. And if you go ahead and click on that, you can see that you received your first like. So that's just letting users know a little bit more. Maybe they didn't go through the DiscoBot tutorial, what a like is, and that it is granted by other users because they found something interesting, cool, or useful. I mentioned when talking about DiscoBot that we sandbox users, we restrict what they can do when they first join the site. We found these days that while Discourse being a JavaScript application can prevent most bots from accessing the site, there are human spammers out there, and the number of human spammers are increasing. We've seen that year over year. So one of the ways that we try and prevent that is by sandboxing those new users, and that's relying on our trust level system. So new users come in at trust level 0, and trust level 0 users are heavily restricted in what they can do. Trust level 0 users can't send messages, they can't flag things, they can't post more than a few images, they cannot post any attachments, limited number of hyperlinks, etc. The reason for this is to help make sure that they don't do too much damage to your site before the community or your moderation team is able to catch them and remove them from the site. After they've met a few guidelines, which is not very onerous, they need to enter at least 5 topics, read at least 30 posts, and spend at least 10 minutes on your site. So that really is just showing they're human, they're interested in what's going on, just a very basic barrier to get over. Any real user who's accessing a site to do some things is going to do that, usually within 10 minutes, maybe 15, 20 minutes, depending on how they interact. As they go up in trust level, and this is, by the way, a public blog post we have from a few years back if you want to learn more about trust levels, they gain more features. Trust level 1, they can pretty much do the full features of Discourse. Anything you'd expect on a modern forum. Trust level 2, these users have been around. They've been around at least 15 days, and they've interacted on the site. They've been liked, and they've liked others. They've replied in various places. They're not just stuck in one topic. And they're reading. Reading is very important. Reading is fundamental. They gain more abilities. They can now invite others to the site. They have increased limits for their likes and edits, and they begin to get the ability to ignore others as sites grow that may become necessary. And trust levels continue to go up, trust level 3, trust level 4, and eventually you get to staff. And I will throw a link to this topic in. Thank you. Justin has already done that for me. Appreciate it. So that you can access that if needed. Something to note with Discourse is everything is customizable. We are incredibly customizable. If I'm an admin, I can show you that. Swing this over here. So as admins, you have access to site settings, including the trust levels category. So you can control all sorts of differences with our trust levels, what trust levels new users come in. So maybe you don't run a public site. You run that internal private site for your users, and you trust them because, well, you hired them for your company. So you don't want to sandbox them at trust level 0. You want them to come right in at trust level 2. You have the ability to do that. Same thing with where invited users come in, and then all the different things that trust levels control, who can edit, who can post to a wiki, who can send messages, and then eventually the thresholds for those different levels. So maybe you're finding that your spammers are getting to trust level 1. Maybe they figured out that if they just sit around for about 10 minutes and open a few topics, they're going to be able to do more damage. So you can tweak all of these different thresholds that control the promotion of users from trust level 0 up to trust level 3. Again, if you just are joining us, we're doing a demo here of Discourse. Please participate in chat and shoot any questions you may have in the Q&A. We will be happy to get to them as we go here. So users, I'm going to go back to my new user here, and I wanted to just forgot to mention something here with the introduce yourself. So when users post in a topic, as new user did, they're automatically going to start tracking that topic. And as this little helpful hint says, you will see a count of new replies because you posted to this topic. So we find that generally when a user posts, they are interested in replies that may come to that topic because they participated. It's a great indicator that they have some level of interest here. We have a number of different levels of notification state that you can have in a topic. By default, if you post in a topic, you're tracking. If you start a topic, you're watching it. So tracked topics will show an indicator on the home page that there is a new reply. You'll get that count of new replies. As well as, of course, you will be notified via notification up here in the user menu if someone directly replies to you or if they mention you by your username. The next level of notification is watching. Watching says, I want to know everything going on in this topic. Not only will you see that unread count anytime someone replies, you're going to get a notification and, depending on your settings, an email saying, hey, Admin Wyatt has replied. Even if Admin Wyatt isn't replying to you, you've indicated, I care about this topic a lot. I want to know everything going on. Normally, no pun intended, you have a normal tracking state, notification state, which means that you're not going to see that unread count. You're not going to be notified unless someone mentions you explicitly or replies to you direct to your post. So maybe you replied to a topic back in 2018. It's gone to different places. You don't care anymore, so you set it to normal. But someone wants to bring you back into the conversation, they can mention you by name or they can reply to that 2-year-old post you have, and that'll notify you automatically. Finally, we have muted. This is the topic you don't care about. You don't want to see it. You don't want notifications from it. You just want it to disappear. Maybe you are an English language speaker like me, and you have a section on your site for foreign languages. And unfortunately, I'm a typical American who can't speak any other languages. As much as I would really love to learn other languages, I don't need to see all these posts that are coming in because I can't really read them. It's not going to be particularly useful to me. I might choose to mute those topics so I don't see them. They're not going to fill up my view and distract me from things that I can actually participate in a useful manner. So a lot of times we see with communities the need to gate content. All your users shouldn't see everything on the site. So I'm going to go back to my admin user here to demonstrate a little bit about that. So as our new user, we saw the general category, the knowledge base, and the learning category with 2 of its subcategories. We did not see, however, this CS103X. Let me go ahead and put this up side by side to demonstrate that. So what you'll notice here on the right-hand side is my admin user. The left-hand side is my basic trust level 0 user. The admin user has access to this CS103X game theory category that new user cannot see. Same thing with our new category, subcategory, and of course the staff category. So it's very easy to gate content as needed by staff, as well as by trust level and by group. So this is very useful, especially for people who use single sign-on. Maybe you have an existing CRM or you have an existing place where your users are already. Instead of making them sign up with a username and password, you can connect right into that external system. They can sign in with their existing username and password or social login, whatever that may be. And you can pass along group information. Maybe you have a group of power users and you have a group of developers for your site. Pass along that group information, and Discourse can then take advantage of that, and you can gate those categories. So I'm going to look at this CS103X category and go to security settings, and you can see that the only people that can see this category, as well as reply and create topics in it, are our game theory group, our patrons group, and our premium students group. So very simple way to gate that content however you need to by group or trust level in order to make sure that everything on your site is not public. I'm going to pause here quickly. I do see a couple of Q&As in there. Talk about integrations on Discourse. Can you add features selectively to different people? And what if we offer paid memberships? So you can absolutely offer paid memberships. So paid memberships can be through a number of different plugins that we have. They could be external. So you could manage payments completely separately from Discourse and use a single sign-on integration to pass that information in. So that site would be login required. You could not create your own account. You would have to pay first. We also have a couple of plugins that you could choose to install on your Discourse site to handle or help handle that payment information. So for example, our Patreon plugin will help you easily link back and forth with Patreon. or our Discourse subscriptions plugin, which is takes advantage of Stripe, a payment processor, to handle those payments directly within Discourse. And yes, you can add features selectively to an extent. Depending on what features you're looking to add or remove, you can gate some features by trust level, and you could use that paid membership to prevent people from hitting a certain trust level. You also could use a custom plugin to add or remove features based on those groups coming in from the paid membership. Yes, it is absolutely possible to send personal messages to and from users on Discourse. You can actually see here on my admin that there's quite a few personal messages that I've been ignoring here. But the Discourse has been messaging me. But we also had Eddie here who sent a personal message requesting membership to a specific group. Discourse forums are search engine friendly, so we provide a non-JavaScript view, since search engines generally can't view large amounts of JavaScript, to all search engines if your site is public. Of course, if the site is not public, if it's behind a login, you're not going to be able to crawl and index that site. And groups are just collections of users. It's just a way of saying user A, B, and C belong to group teachers. And it's a way to help organize those users to make them easier to work with. Hopefully that answered most of your questions there, Salman. So speaking of customization of sites, Discourse provides you with full CSS, JavaScript, and to a certain extent, HTML customization of your site. We want to make sure that your site looks like, well, your site, and not that it looks like every other Discourse site out there. So this is a pretty decently customized Discourse site. We have this banner up here, which the site admins have customized, giving you a couple of useful links. We featured a couple of topics here that we want users to come into. And then, of course, we got down to the topics where we've customized the font, some of the colors here to make it look a little bit more unique. I'm going to quickly show you two other Discourse sites, just so you guys can see how different you can make things look. So this is a minimally styled Discourse site. Really, they've just done a little bit with color and font. But if you're not a CSS expert, you don't have a full-time designer on your team, it's very easy to do things like changing fonts, changing some colors, right from our admin interface, which I'll show you in a moment. And then to go the other direction to a very customized site, you can go ahead, if you do have a designer on your team or someone familiar with CSS and HTML, you can go ahead and truly customize your site however you like. So this site went ahead and instead of displaying categories on the left, topics on the right, they've made these boxes with some shadowing, some hover coloring, as well as this menu system up here at the top outside of the main Discourse interface with a very popular search integration. So normally search is right up here, but many sites we find want to put search front and center. So we have a component you guys can do that with. So speaking of customizing sites, let us go ahead back into my admin user here. I'm going to go into the admin interface. I'm going to go down to our customize section, and we're going to talk about customizing your site. Out of the box, your site's going to come with a couple of themes, light and dark, and I believe we now include a couple of other themes out of the box. Let me actually see if I can show you the wizard here. When you join, when you are an admin on a brand new site, the first thing you do is not land on a blank page with 150 admin settings. You're going to land in our new site setup wizard. So we're going to go ahead here. I'm going to jump through a couple of these pages. I want to get back to the themes. So right out of the box, the first thing we offer people the ability to do is very quickly just change the color of their site. So these are just some basic examples that you can then work off of. If you don't like the basic coloring. Right on into fonts, logos, and icons. So make it very simple to do that very quick customization, which will then, as I go back to the admin interface, will allow you to customize it more. So here is our current theme that we're working on. We do support remote themes. So maybe you have a couple of different Discourse sites, or you want to properly have version control on that theme. We support putting that theme on GitHub, whether public or private, and then using that as your source for the theme so that multiple people can easily edit and work on it. Themes can be turned on and off, so you can work on them privately And you can also allow your users to choose themes or force a theme upon them. Set your colors for the theme, as well as included components. So think of themes as this overarching choice that users make. I want the demo theme. Within the, you may also have a dark and a light theme that share certain features. For example, that search bar that I showed you at the top of one of the sites, you can make that as a component, and then you can share that component amongst all of your different themes. So we'll jump over to components and see that we have the blog post styling component that is included on multiple different themes. Themes are incredibly customizable. You do not need to know JavaScript for most things. That was a good point, Michelle. CSS and HTML will get you a very, very long way. Of course, JavaScript will allow you to do even more should you choose to do that. And Justin, if you wouldn't mind, I think you already did throw a link in there to our theme directory over on Meta. A lot of our users, we are an open source platform, love to share their work and share their themes, make them available to others. So you can go ahead and take a look at what others have done and import that right into your site so you don't need to reinvent the wheel. We as Discourse also develop a number of themes and components. We're adding more on a regular basis that you are obviously welcome to use and take advantage of there. So if you need to do more than just theme your site, you want to actually change functionality, you want to store more information in the database, then you get into plugins. So plugins are collections of Ruby code as well as JavaScript, CSS, anything else that you need there in order to truly customize your site to do more. So we're going to talk a little bit about a couple of plugins that we have. So I would love to show off the Salt plugin. So very commonly, we see communities looking to have questions be asked and get answered. It's a very common thing that happens in an online community. And the Salt plugin, which, like our themes, nearly every single one of our plugins is 100% free for you to use and open source. The Salt plugin allows for people to ask questions and then mark posts as solutions. So here you can see that Hawk asked a question, and then down in post 11, which we will jump down to, someone answered her question. Now, this is not exactly a great example. There wasn't really a question asked, but it was marked as a solution. So users can very quickly see how can you contact a support person. This has been solved and can easily jump in and find that solution so that they don't have to ask that same question again. We also support plugins for voting, for example. I'm just trying to remember which category here voting is in. I believe it's in feature requests. Let's see. Yes, it is. So you can see here that we've got some votes on various topics. So you are a development company, you have or some things you're working on, and you want to know what your users would like to see. So you can create support for votes that users can go in and vote on various features that you are suggesting or that your users are suggesting right within the Discourse interface. This is just a small sampling of plugins that we have. Discourse out of the box comes with a couple of plugins pre-installed, and you can install just about any plugin that you would like, again, at no cost to you. These are open source and free to use. And you can find this list on our website as well as on our public discussion forum as well. So lots of things you might be thinking of doing probably exist in a plugin that you could choose to install and enable. While we're here in the admin interface, I'm running out of time, I see. I want to quickly talk a little bit about reporting. We know that it's, unfortunately, community is generally down in the rank of importance when you're dealing with the business. And you need to be able to justify the reason for your community to exist. So we've tried to make that easy for you to get that information that you need to show that your community is thriving and going and benefiting your business. So right out of the box, we have these reports for you, nice and visual, easy to see, some basic metrics that we found people like to have access to right at their fingertips. So how many people are accessing the site, signups and topics, engaged users, daily versus monthly active users, right there for you to get access to. And all of this can be viewed in more detail, as well as exported as needed into your tool of your choice. Say you're managing your reporting externally. We have some more information on moderation. This is not a very active site. We use it for demos like this. So you're not going to see much information here, but you will be able to get some information on what your moderators are doing, flags from your community, how they're being worked on, etc. And then you get into a very large list we have of pre-built reports. So lots of other useful information that's not necessarily visual. We can't necessarily display it in a chart for you that you want to know. So when are admins logging in from and where are they logging in from? Some useful information. If you need more, we have our Data Explorer plugin. Data Explorer is a great tool that we have that allows you to create SQL queries and run them on the live database. No delay, no need to export the data elsewhere. Right on your site, you can query any information that you would like from your database. Of note, this is supports select queries. This is not a way to modify the database. So we've created this query here. We want to see the most common likers. Go ahead and run that query, and you're going to start getting any information that you asked for. So extremely powerful tool to get any information that you would like out of the site. I know I am out of time here, and I imagine that many people are looking to head to other sessions. I am happy to keep going if people would like to stay. If you need to head to another session that you're looking for, please don't feel bad. Thank you so much for joining us. Come say hi, meta.discourse.org. Justin has linked to that. Is where we hang out, and we would love to hear from you and chat with you more if we didn't get to what you were looking for or answer your question. But I will keep going here probably for another 15, 20 minutes if you would like to stay. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining. So another plugin that we have that our team has started making great use of is the calendar plugin. So the calendar plugin allows you to deal with events. So we know that many communities do schedule events, whether in person or in these days virtually most of the time, and that you want to track them. And you want an easy way to see that. So we're going to go into the announcements category, and we're going to see this post here about Meet Everyone Today. So admin Wyatt has posted an event that you can see who created it. It already happened, and that which users are participating and joining. So super quick and easy to create an event right in our interface and let people RSVP or choose that they're not going. Users can then be notified when that event is getting ready to start and participate right here in the interface. We also keep track of all of those events that are coming. Going to go ahead and bounce backwards. I believe that was last September. It was. Looks like we don't keep past events. So let me actually go ahead and edit this into the future. So we're going to put this into 2021. Hasn't happened yet. So now we can see I can RSVP if I want to go, if I'm just interested and I want to know about it, or if I'm sorry I can't attend this event. Now if we go look at our upcoming events calendar, we can see that this event is coming up on the 23rd. And if other events were being created by other admins or even by end users, they'd be able to see all these events right here in the calendar where they can jump right to them and learn more about them. While we're here, let's talk a little bit about user notes. So we know that as a staff team, you have a lot to keep track of, and you have tons of users that you're monitoring, that you're helping, that you're working with. User notes, this little pad and pencil, is a great way for your moderation team to leave notes right on a user that will be seen anytime you see that user. These are private, not visible to the users, but they're right there for your moderators to see if they're dealing with something and saying, this is a questionable post they made. You can quickly go and look and say, well, the question post, and we're seeing that this is a problematic user that we need to watch out for. So you can leave those notes right there for your other moderators so you're not moderating in a vacuum. I mentioned badges earlier as our basic user got a badge. So let's go back to our user here, new user, and let's talk a little bit about badges. So badges are a little bit of gamification that we have for your users to earn and go up in sort of their status on the site. So out of the box, we include a whole bunch of badges that are meant to help teach people how to interact with the site, how to use the site's features so that people that like earning badges, that want to have every single badge, will learn how to interact with the site and work through the various features that we have. As users go up in their time on the site, the badges become greater in rank, you start seeing silver and gold badges, and they become harder to obtain as well. So, for example, the devotee badge means they have visited your site at least once every single day for an entire calendar year, or entire consecutive 365 days. It doesn't necessarily need to be January through December. So that obviously is a user on your site that really loves your site. They participate. They're there all the time, and that's a status symbol for them, for you to see that this user has truly been here every single day all year long. You can also create custom badges. So our badges are enabled out of the box. You can turn them on and off as needed. You can also create your own badges to award to users, either automatically, again, using SQL queries right from our database, or manually, if maybe your moderation team hands out power user badges, or in this case, a healthcare expert badge. Badges are very customizable. All the text you see here, whether it can be earned multiple times, the logo or icon that appears, all things that you can easily tweak right from the admin interface. So talk a little about moderation. I'm not sure if my user here has been promoted or not and can flag anything yet. Yes, they can. So we really want to encourage, as we've mentioned, civilized discussion. We want to see our community succeed, and we want to see it succeed in a civilized way, in a way that people want to participate and people are comfortable participating and discussing ideas that they may not agree with without necessarily arguing against the person. So one of the ways we do that is by allowing your community to help you moderate the site. And part of that is via our flagging system. So users can flag posts, and they can let you know why they are flagging it. So out of the box, we have 3 major categories: off-topic, inappropriate, or spam. Or if it doesn't fit into any of those, they can flag it with another reason that they can type. So I'm going to say that this post is off-topic, and I'm going to flag that post. Now, if I jump back over to my admin user here, I can now see that there are some flags, some things we need to review. So I'm going to open up this review, and I'm going to look at what's going on. So I'm going to try and find that flag I just made. There we go, 1 minute ago. New user flagged this post as off topic, and I can see exactly what post is flagged, who the user was that has been flagged. Again, those user notes right here, so I can see just in time if there's some issues with this user in the past, and I can then choose to take action. So I can agree with the flag and either hide the post or keep it there. Disagree with the flag. I'm sorry, this user was not correct. Ignore the flag. There's no action needed. Or I can go right ahead and start deleting the post that was flagged. We know that not all sites have moderators around 24/7, especially communities that are maybe not run by a company. They're a volunteer community. You might have only a few moderators, or maybe they're in one time zone. We want to make sure that your site doesn't fall apart just because the moderator isn't there. So we have some thresholds for flags to automatically start taking action while waiting for a moderator. So for example, if a new user's post gets flagged, I think 3 times, it's automatically going to be hidden until a moderator comes in and has a chance to review it. If you have let's say you have a very contentious topic and people are flagging posts in the topic left and right. If a topic reaches a certain number of flags that have not yet been handled, that topic is going to get closed. No one else can reply until that moderator comes in and figures out what's going on, handles those flags, and opens it back up. All of these available for freemium. So there is no freemium here. So Discourse is free and open source. Everything I'm talking about here is 100% free. You can download it right from GitHub and install it on a server of your choice. When we talk about paid tiers, that is for our hosting. So I'll put on the sales hat very briefly. I was trying to avoid that. So Discourse is free and open source. Anyone can use it, install it on a server of your choice. For example, I have it installed on a little server I run underneath my desk here, and I use it for my family. We discuss usually when we're doing vacation planning of all things, we use a Discourse forum for that. That, of course, requires you to have a server, and not everyone has a server sitting under their desk. I'm probably very strange in that sense that there's a server under my desk. So many people use online cloud servers, whether that's AWS or Azure, DigitalOcean, lots of different options out there for cloud servers that you can rent. Of course, those come with a cost. So that's where your cost lies in running Discourse, in running the server that Discourse is on. You also need a very minimal amount of knowledge of Linux and how to install it. Now, we provide you with a step-by-step guide on how to install it. But if you don't have that knowledge or don't want to worry about running it, then you have our hosting. So we will host Discourse for you. Discourse still being free, but now you're paying us to run the server, keep it up to date, and make sure that if something happens at 2 o'clock in the morning, our team gets awakened to go deal with it, not you. So that is what our hosting is for, and that's where you sometimes hear about cost. But Discourse itself, free and open source, all these features you're seeing, 100% free for you to use. You just need that server to run it on. So hopefully that helps you there. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Apologies if I am not. So that is our review system, as well as community moderation, helping some actions be taken by your users without even needing a moderator. One very important thing that I'd like to talk about that we hear from people is owning your own data. So whether you host Discourse on your own server or you host it with us or another third-party host out there, your data is still your data. At any time that you would like, you can go ahead and create a backup of your site, and that will give you a full backup of the entire database and optionally all of the uploads, attachments, everything else your users have put onto the site. And you can take that wherever you want. So maybe you're hosted with Discourse. You pay us to run your site for you. Your company has evolved, and now you need to host it yourself. You can't have it on our servers anymore. You got that big government contract that says it has to be on this server behind armed guards. You can go ahead and take that backup from us at any time. No need to contact us. No need to pay anything. Install Discourse somewhere else, upload and restore that backup, and your site is still your site. Your data is your data. There's no lock in here. There's no restrictions. We don't want your data. Your data is your data. And also, whether you use Discourse self-hosted or on our hosting platform or any others, we don't sell your data. We have no interest in your data. I guess that's the best way of saying it. Your data is your data. So I see another question here has popped up. What is the events plugin called? The events plugin is actually called Calendar. The events plugin is called Calendar. So it originally started off as just a calendar plugin and has since evolved into a plugin that handles events as well as just a basic calendar. Hopefully that answers that question. So I think I've covered most of what I was looking to cover today with this demo. This is just a very brief, rapid overview, of course, of Discourse. Discourse, to explain it all, would probably take a week-long conference to do that. There is just so much there. If you do have any more questions, do please feel free to throw them into chat. Thank you, Michelle, for the link to the event and calendar plugin there. Any more questions, throw them in chat, throw them in the Q&A. I'm going to be hanging around at least another 10 minutes. If you'd like to chat verbally, feel free to raise your hand there in chat. I can actually add you right in to the presentation here, and I'm happy to chat face-to-face with anyone. If there is nothing, I wish everyone a wonderful rest of your CMX. Thank you again for joining us. Hopefully, we'll be able to see everyone in person next year. As fun as it is to be online chatting with you from the comfort of my office here, it does not replace that in-person community that we all, I'm sure, love so much. So thank you again for joining us. A question. Can you suggest any good resources for learning about Discourse? Absolutely. So I think the number one place to start, and I'm going to share my screen again here, is meta.discourse.org, which I believe Justin has linked to before. Let's get a link in there. So meta.discourse.org is our Discourse site where we talk about Discourse and developing it. So there's a number of great resources on Meta that you guys can get access to. The first thing up here I want to draw your attention to is our docs category. So this is all of our documentation right within our discussion forum where you can learn. If you're looking to get started, the Getting Started tag is a great place to do that. So that trust levels that I talked about before is linked right there. We do have a great new user guide. So someone who has no familiarity with Discourse, definitely a great place to start there. as well as all sorts of other useful information about getting started with Discourse. Any other questions or stuff you have, take advantage of search, take advantage of our different category filters, and you'll find all sorts of great information there. As for a theme marketplace, we do have a theme category. And you can start looking through all the different themes that are anything you're seeing here on the site, far as I last checked, is free and open source, just like Discourse is itself. So you can take advantage of any of these different themes, install them on your site, try them out, find that you do or do not like them, and play around with it as you see fit. Here, actually, that air theme I mentioned, I showed off a site using the air theme earlier. This is one of our incredible designers on the team who wanted to build a site that looked a little bit different than what people are used to, different sort of design focus, and made that available to everyone who wanted to use it. So that is a little bit about learning more about Discourse in our documentation section, as well as our theme listing there. We'll just give it a couple more minutes for any final lingering questions. Again, if you have more questions that I'm not able to answer here, do come say hi on meta.discourse.org. Feel free to create a topic or shoot me a message. I am Joe Maxro, Jomaxro. You'll see my avatar. It looks just like well, it looks just like me. Nice red shirt, actually, I believe as well. If you have any questions there. Also, if you did not see the pinned topic here at the top of the chat, we are giving away free copies of David's new book. So if you'd like to get a copy of that, follow that link, and we'll get that, or CMX will get that sent out to you over the next month or so. If you're asking about the link to the book, I'm going to put that right into chat again, as well as right to the answer of your question, but it should be pinned at the top. If you look at the session chat, there should be a blue one up there, and it's also now, I just posted that at the bottom of the chat. So it should be at the top and bottom of chat, session chat for you guys. All right. Well, again, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Do please enjoy the rest of your time here at CMX. Come say hi to us on meta.discourse.org if you would like to. And hopefully we will see you guys next year in person. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.